Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up today. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and today in an Entertainment Spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with author, actress, filmmaker, and my friend, Omegia Keys. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Wednesday headlines. In national news, 1,732 new COVID-19 cases in Mississippi and 56 additional deaths reported. The Mississippi State Department of Health reported 1,732 new COVID-19 cases and 56 additional deaths on Tuesday. There have now been 167,926 cases of COVID-19 in the Magnolia State and over 4,000 coronavirus-related deaths since the pandemic spread to Mississippi on March the 11th. Of Mississippi's 82 counties, 54 are under a mask mandate and other COVID-19 restrictions. More than 14.7 million Americans have been infected by the coronavirus, and at least 282,000 have died, according to Johns Hopkins University. In a related story, UK starts virus campaign with a shot watched around the world. A nurse rolled up 90-year-old Margaret Keenan's sleeve and administered a shot watched around the world, the first jab in the UK's COVID-19 vaccination program, kicking off an unprecedented global effort to try to end a pandemic that has killed 1.5 million people. Keenan, a retired shop clerk from Northern Ireland who celebrates her birthday next week, was at the front of the line at University Hospital Coventry to receive the vaccine that was approved by British regulators last week. The UK is the first Western country to deliver a broadly tested and independently reviewed vaccine to the general public. The COVID-19 shot was developed by U.S. drug maker Pfizer and Germany's biotech. U.S. and European Union regulators may approve it in the coming days or weeks. In more national news, High Court rejects GOP bid to halt Biden's Pennsylvania win. The Supreme Court on Tuesday rejected Republicans' last-gap bid to reverse Pennsylvania's certification of President-elect Joe Biden's victory in the electoral battleground. The court, without comment, refused to call into question the certification process in Pennsylvania. Democratic Governor Tom Wolf already has certified Biden's victory, and the state's 20 electors are to meet on December the 14th to cast their votes for Biden. Biden won 306 electoral votes, so even if Pennsylvania's results had been in doubt, he still would have more than 270 electoral votes needed to become president. Biden beat President Donald Trump by more than 80,000 votes in Pennsylvania, a state Trump had won in 2016. In more national news, Biden vows to reopen most schools after first 100 days on job. Joe Biden pledged Tuesday to bring the coronavirus pandemic under enough control to open most of the nation's schools during his first 100 days as president, going much further on the issue than he has in the past, even while warning that the U.S. is facing a dark winter. The president-elect said that the promise is dependent on Congress providing sufficient funding to protect students, teachers, and campus staff. He made it during an event in Delaware to introduce a team of health experts set to help the new administration to combat a virus that has already killed more than 285,000 Americans. Biden says he plans to distribute at least 100 million vaccines during his first 100 days in the White House and will seek to reopen most of the nation's schools over the same period. In business news, steady gains for stocks deliver more records on Wall Street. Technology and healthcare companies helped drive stocks to more gains on Tuesday, leading to another round of milestones on Wall Street. The S&P 500 index rose 0.3%, eclipsing the all-time high it set on last Friday. The Nasdaq Composite and Russell 2000 index of small company stocks also set record highs. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 104 points, or 0.4%, to close at 30,174. The tech-heavy Nasdaq picked up 63 points, or 0.5%, to close at 12,583. And finally, in entertainment news, the Associated Press does a final goodbye, recalling influential people who died in 2020. In a year defined by a devastating pandemic, the world lost iconic defenders of civil rights, great athletes, and entertainers who helped define their genres. Many of their names hold a prominent place in the collective consciousness. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Kobe Bryant, Eddie Van Halen, Little Richard, Sean Connery, Alex Trebek, and more, but pandemic restrictions often limited the public's ability to mourn their loss in a year that saw more than 1 million people die from the coronavirus. The world also said goodbye to U.S. Representative John Lewis, a lion of the civil rights movement, who died in July. Some of the year's deaths struck down relatively young people, leaving mourners with the heartbreak of a life gone too soon. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Learn to appreciate the flow of giving. The act of giving and receiving are intimately intertwined. Yet you cannot attract abundance by simply giving gifts to all you meet. You will find yourself wallowing in disappointment when you do not receive the expected result. An error in judgment occurs when you think the only way you deserve a gift is to give one first. When you laden your gifts with expectations or motives, it ceases to become a gift. An expectation might be as simple as a thank you note or, well, I gave you a gift on your birthday, where's mine? Both of the above statements are societal teachings gone wrong. Give to someone because it comes from your heart, because you want to, or because it is what God asks of you in this moment. Today, appreciate the flow of reciprocal abundance as a gift in itself, and enjoy your day.
As I mentioned, Omegia Keys is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight, enjoyed right here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Author, actress, filmmaker Omegia Keys rejoined me on Conversations Live, the radio show this week, to talk about her amazing career, the year that's been 2020, and her new documentary, Surviving America. Here's a bit of our conversation.
All of us came into 2020 with a different game plan and had to just quickly adjust. Yeah, so, I mean, that was, one of the things I was literally going to film one of my other fiction projects. But because of COVID, I definitely didn't want to be around too many people, and I'm not one of those very big productions, which, a lot of productions just shut down right away, but by the middle of the year, they came up with their game plans, to have, naturally, it just did what it did.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to say, you're right, and I think, unfortunately, because 2020 has so many devastating moments, and so many, we definitely don't want to forget all that's happened, because those names are not being talked about as much right now because of all the other craziness that's happening right now in the world. Was that kind of part of one of the reasons why you wanted to do something like Surviving America? And I should say, even before 2020, you had already talked about being able to follow up from Tim to James Crow. So, but considering all that's happened this year in the middle of the pandemic with, the calls for racial injustice and everything, did that kind of make it even more necessary for you to do this project?
Absolutely. It was my call to action. I had to figure out what I could do personally, because I couldn't get out there and, protest because, I'm in a high risk category. I can't protest in the middle of a pandemic, so I had to figure out what can I do to speak out.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. We thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News on this hump day. Be back to you guys tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host Cyrus Webb saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make today amazing.